Hello, it's a moody and cloudy November Sunday. It's actually a Black celebration for us here in Greece. And I'm going to leave some of the information regarding the 17th of November. It's a Black celebration from 1973 when the Polytechnic students and other people as well, but mostly the students of the Polytechnic University were trampled over by tanks that invaded the university. Although they didn't stop junta, they raised awareness throughout the world, and I think they were a big part of junta's decline and a few months later. As some of you may already know, I had my birthday on the 11th of November, and of course I got myself a few new plants, and I just wanted to share them with you. There's nothing really rare, but I'm not into plants because of their rarity, so I just thought they were pretty, and they were actually a pretty good deal, and I just got them. So the first plant that I got, which might not seem rare, but I had never ever seen it in Greece before, was this pothos. But it's a plain green pothos, and I had never ever seen one in person before. It's in a tiny pot, and it was €2. It's beautiful. I love both those plants. Epipremnum aureum is an evergreen trailing vine that can reach 2 to 4 meters tall or 6 to 10 feet. But in its natural habitat, it can actually reach 10 meters or 30 feet tall. It belongs to the Araceae family. It is native to Solomon Islands. If you keep it outdoors, it prefers a shaded or partially shaded spot, but as a houseplant, place it in a spot with bright indirect sunlight. Its ideal soil pH is 6.1 to 6.5, but it can tolerate neutral pH as well. It is not a heavy feeder. It's air purifying, humidity and drought tolerant, easily propagated, but beware, it's poisonous. As for the etymology, epipremnum comes from two ancient Greek words, epi, which means on top of, onto, and premnum, which is not used in modern Greek, but it means trunk or stump. Aurum means golden in Latin. As for its common name, pothos, there's an interesting story because for the longest time I thought this word derived from the Greek word we still using today, which means lust or yearning. But it actually derived from the Latinized Sinhalese word pota, which is the common name of the plant in Sri Lanka. The next two plants that I got were these Slumbegera truncata, if I'm correct. Again, I had never ever seen these bloom colors before. They are lovely and they're going outside, but for now I'm just going to keep them here. These are some of the plants that I actually really enjoy. I love the little devil-like leaves, and they're amazingly big flowers. Hello! Mr. Yuki decided to join us. He has been sleeping all morning long on my lap. Schlumbergera truncata is an evergreen perennial epiphytic thornless cactus. It is native to Central and South America found in wet forests and jungles, so it loves humidity. Keep it moist but not waterlogged. The minimum temperatures are supposed to be 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's hardy in zones 10B through 11, although I can assure you that at least here in Greece, it has naturalized so it can tolerate even snow. It can reach 45 centimeters or 18 inches tall and wide, although I've seen much larger plants than this. Place it in a spot with bright indirect light, but avoid direct scorching sunlight. As for the soil preferences, an orchid mix will work perfect for this type of plant. It flowers from late November to late January, hence its common name, Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus. Once it blooms, do not move it or stress it, or it might lose its buds. It is easy to propagate and it's non-toxic. In Greece, it's called patience, probably because sometimes it's not as easy to make it bloom. It's a plant that actually needs 2 resting periods, which means reduction in temperatures and water. So as soon as it's done blooming in late January or February, reduce watering. And then reduce watering in early autumn as soon as it starts to form buds, but resume watering as soon as it blooms. As for the etymology, I'm going to start with a specific epithet first. Truncata is Latin and it means to mutilate or to cut off. As for Schlumbergera, I found a really interesting story, which it's probably not even a story, but I found it hilarious and I hope you like it too. So the genus Schlumbergera was created in 1858 by Charles-Antoine Lemaire in an article he wrote in Revue Horticole and l'Illustration Horticole, where he named this genus after a Monsieur Schlumberger de Lezantieux. Monsieur Schlumberger was later identified as Frédéric Schlumberger. Some other sources, though, identify Monsieur Schlumberger as Frédéric Schlumberger, who was Belgian. The French Frédéric was a wealthy businessman from a very well-known and distinguished mid-19th century French family who lived near Rouen, who had a big cacti collection. The family was originally from Alsace, which then belonged to France, but it has always been shifted among France and Germany, which might explain the Germanic origin of the family surname. As for the Belgian Friedrich, he was assumed to be a Belgian horticulturist, explorer, and plant collector. No sufficient information has been found regarding this person, so most scientists believe it was just a misreading of 2 different entries in the Gardener's Handbook of Plant Names, which was published in 1963 in Belgium. Je ne sais pas. Je ne suis pas sûre. I guess we'll probably never be 100% sure, but it was fun to illustrate this, so yeah. Charles-Antoine Lemaire was born in the 1800s. He was a French botanist and botanical author noted for his publications on the Cactaceae family, a group of plants to which he would devote almost all his life. He built up a big collection of cacti while working in a Parisian nursery until he was asked to be an editor for various gardening journals of the time, such as Jardin Fleuriste, L'Horticulture Universelle, and L'Illustration Horticole. He published numerous papers on the cacti and succulents, but never a major work. In spite of his love, collection, knowledge, and experience, he never got a wealthy sponsor, so he lived and died in semi-poverty. Even this portrait is not really his. It's actually the portrait of another botanist, Alan Cunningham, but it's commonly mistaken for being that of Charles-Antoine Lemaire. He died in 1871 in Paris. Yesterday noon, we decided to go for lunch in Iraklion with my boy, just because the day was pretty perfect. It was a bit cloudy, but again, the weather here has been insane. So I convinced him that I actually needed this plant. He tolerates me so much. I'm just lucky to have him. So I found this, and this is obviously some kind of Ripsalis. And I don't know why, but here in Greece, Ripsalis are really expensive. So I got this for €3. And it's small, but plants grow. So I was just happy to have it. This is going outdoors as well. I think these succulents are doing great in our climate. Even though we usually have colder winters, this is an unusual situation for us as well. Ripsalis pachyfera can be found in Central through South America, Caribbean, and Florida. But it can also be found throughout the tropics of Africa, Madagascar, and Sri Lanka. This is the only cactus species naturally found outside the New World, and there are two explanations regarding this. The first one being that it spread into the Old World by bird dispersal or European trading ships. The second explanation is that it already existed during the Gondwana supercontinent, which then split into Africa and America. It's an evergreen, leafless, spineless, unarmed epiphytic cactus which can reach 2 meters or 7 feet tall. Mature plants flower with small white flowers, usually during summer, followed by white edible berries. But the plant can flower and produce fruit all year round. It likes being in a spot with bright indirect light or partial shade and a well-drained acid soil with pH levels below 7. It has been used since the ancient years as a medicine. Also, I don't know if you remember, but in one of my previous videos, I had bought some orchids online, and one of them was in a really, really bad shape. Actually, when I got it, it wasn't in such a bad state, but a couple of days later, all of the leaves turned yellow, and it wasn't looking good. So I've been trying to contact the online store, and at first they were kind of ignoring me. They told me later that my emails were into their spam folder. So I contacted them through Facebook, and they replied, and they told me that yes, you're right, we've asked our horticulturist, and he told us that this plant is sick. So we can either give you a refund or send you another plant because there was no availability of the same orchid. So of course I decided to get another orchid because that's what I wanted. And they did send me an orchid, but before showing you this, when I met Olga on Friday, Olga from Olga's Greenland, I found the exact same orchid that I had just thrown away that very same day, and it was sad because I really wanted that. It was a beautiful orchid. So of course I got it, and I got it on a discount as well. So I got it for €10. I'm not going to pull it out, but you can see it over here, and I'm going to insert a footage of that. So I was really excited. I was really happy that I actually had this plant as well. This orchid was identified for me from members of the Greek Orchid Society as Oncostelle Midnight Miracles. It is an intergenerics hybrid from Rhynchostelle bictoniensis ex Oncidium cariniferum, and it is considered a primary hybrid because it's a cross between two species. It's a perennial, evergreen, flowering orchid growing in hardiness zones 11 through 12. Its ideal temperatures are between 10 to 24 degrees Celsius or 50 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. It needs a well-drained soil, good air circulation, bright indirect light or partial shade, and an average amount of water. It can reach 60 centimeters tall or 24 inches. It's a slow-growing orchid. It can flower throughout the year, but usually in spring or autumn. As for the etymology, Let's start with rincostelle, which derives from two Latinized Greek words, rhynchos, which means beak, and stele, or stele in Greek, which means column. As for the word Bictoniensis, it comes from the word Bicton, which is an English village where a 19th century orchid enthusiast, Lord Rowe, had his manor house, and he actually had a huge orchid collection. As for the oncidium, it means small cyst from the Greek word ogidio, and cariniferum is again two more Latinized Greek words, carina, which means keel, the boat's structural beam, and ferro, which means bearing. So, oncostelle now means a column of cysts, or to be more exact, ogos in Greek means tumor, so it means a column of tumors. It's really beautiful, so just never mind the name, okay? After I contacted the online store regarding the dead orchid that I had, they sent me this one. And as you can see, I haven't opened it yet. I was waiting for this video, so it's been sitting in this box, but I don't think it's gonna. So I'm just going to unbox it with you. So this is an oncidium. Oncidium is coming from a Greek word that actually means little cyst. It's not a fun name, really. It has dropped a lot of the flowers, but it looks healthy. I am going to be cleaning this up a bit. This is another orchid that it cannot really tolerate our colder temperatures, so this has to stay indoors. And I've never ever made an orchid bloom for me, but I've never had one for such a long time anyway. But I'm hoping that I'll get this and the other orchids to bloom for me next year. And yes, this looks really healthy. Oncidium sweet sugar is actually a hybrid from Oncidium aloha iwanaga and Oncidium varicosum. It's a sympodial orchid with small, two-leaved pseudobulbs, and the spike can reach 38 centimeters or 15 inches tall. It bears a large number of flowers, usually during autumn, but it can bloom all year round. As for the light requirements, it prefers a spot with bright indirect light or partial shade. Its ideal temperature is between 14 to 32 degrees Celsius or 58 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a humid-loving orchid, so make sure the humidity levels are among 40 to 70%. It's a heavy feeder, so make sure you fertilize it every third watering with a special orchid fertilizer. As for the etymology, oncidium is an ancient Greek word still used today, ogidion, which means small cyst. Varicosum is Latin, and it may come from the word varis, which means dilated veins, or varus, which means bending outward. So I'm really thankful they sent me this. I've saved the best, I guess, for last, because that was a ridiculous find. I still can't believe I found this plant. It has been on my planticorn wish list for quite some time, and then I think Ellen from Winding Leaf showed it in one of her videos, and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I wish I could find this plant someday. So I went to a nursery to get some soil. It's really close to my work, and it doesn't really bring many plants there, but it occasionally has a few. This is a Homalomena. as you may have already recognized. Look at this. It has some coppery stems and some really beautifully textured leaves. And as you can see, it's a rather big plant. Can you guess how much this was? Just leave it in the comments. I'll wait. This was €5. I honestly couldn't believe it. It's a stunner. I think I'm going to be keeping this indoors as well. Homalomena rubescens also belongs to the Archaea family. It's a perennial evergreen that can reach 60 centimeters to 1.3 meters or 1 to 4 feet tall and wide. It is also known as Queen of Hearts. It can be found in the rainforests of southern Asia to Melanesia and through Central America to northern South America. Its ideal temperature is between 16 and 32 degrees Celsius or 60 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, but it can tolerate short periods of colder temperatures as low as 4 degrees Celsius or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It prefers medium to low light, moist soil, and high humidity. It's pest, stress, and low light tolerant, and it can actually flower. Hmm? Hello. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, keep on dreaming. Bye! Dixon, an English village where... Okay, Yuki decided we want to watch TV, so he turned on the TV. So, Yuki, we'll just have to wait because Yuki. I should be renaming him in a tornado. He's so cute though. I don't know if you can see me now, but I'm hoping you can. So yeah, as I was saying,